Today, we're going to dive into a pretty radical idea for the future of our world, and we're going to do it through the eyes of one person who's just trying to find a life that actually matters. And it all kicks off with this one question. I mean, what if we actually solve all of our biggest problems? War, poverty, you name it. But in the process, we accidentally get rid of the very thing that makes our lives feel, well, real. So to figure this out, let's meet Kael. She's living in the year 2055 in a future that, honestly, we can only dream of. Everything is handled. Her health, her home, her safety, it's all completely taken care of.
Now, this is way more than just a comfortable life. It is a life without any real friction. Kael has never been forced to do a single thing she didn't want to do. Every choice is hers and hers alone. She is, by pretty much any standard, the freest human being who has ever lived. And that is the problem.
Because think about it, when every decision can be undone, when every promise has an easy exit ramp, when every mistake can just be wiped clean, what actually sticks? Kael is miserable because nothing she does seems to have any real, lasting consequences. So, Kael starts searching for something more. And her journey begins in the only world she's ever known. It's the default setting for all of humanity in 2055. They call it Zone 1. You could say Zone 1 is humanity's greatest achievement. It's a whole system designed from the ground up to prevent tyranny and war. So how does it do it? By making sure no commitment is ever truly permanent. Your boss is only your boss until you decide to quit, and quitting costs you absolutely nothing. Any contract that tries to lock you in or control you, well, it just fails to execute. It's a world without domination, all built on this one idea. Everything is temporary.
Okay. So Kael tries to build something meaningful inside this system. She starts a company, and she pours all of her time and energy into it. But here's the catch in Zone 1. She knows that if she ever gets tired of it and just walks away, an AI would instantly take over and run the company exactly as she did, maybe even a little bit better. Her presence isn't really necessary. She's completely, totally replaceable.
That safety net, the very thing that makes Zone 1 so stable and safe, is exactly what makes all of her efforts feel so hollow. That frictionless exit on every single commitment just drains it of its weight. She needs something, anything, to matter in a way she can't just take back. Feeling pretty lost, she turns to her therapist, who is an AI, of course, and it suggests she try something else. Zone 2. This is the realm of simulation, of virtual worlds where there are no limits. So Kael dives right in. She becomes a queen, and for 6 months she makes these brutal, irreversible decisions. She sacrifices entire armies, she builds dynasties, and she feels the overwhelming weight of real consequences. For a while, that experience feels more real to her than her actual life. And then, she logs out. Poof. None of it ever happened. No one was real. None of her sacrifices actually counted for anything. It was all just a game. And that jarring contrast, how much it felt like it mattered versus how completely it didn't, well, that just makes her real-world emptiness feel even worse. She is so done with fake feelings. She needs real stakes, consequences she can't just undo. And her search finally leads her to the most controversial idea in this whole future civilization, Zone 3. So what are Zone 3s? Well, you can think of them as these opt-in communities where the normal safety rules of Zone 1 just don't apply. Inside, hierarchies can be permanent. Commitments can actually be irreversible. You can pledge yourself to a cause, and that pledge is real. Sure, leaving is possible, but it comes at a genuine, painful cost. The difference here is just stark. In Zone 1, her safe world, everything is safe because it's temporary. But in Zone 3, the walled world, things are meaningful because they're permanent. In Zone 1, you're just replaceable. But in Zone 3, your contribution is vital. It's a world built on real stakes. So Kael joins a 100-year terraforming project, and she signs on for a minimum 20-year commitment. The first year is just grinding misery. She can't just quit, but she sticks it out. And by year 3, she's leading a team. By year 5, she's the one making decisions that permanently affect other people and the project itself. 8 years in, the weight of those real commitments has completely reshaped who she is. For the first time, she feels like she's the author of her life, not just a cog in a machine.
So how does this not just collapse civilization? How do you contain this kind of risk? The answer is actually incredibly simple. Walls. Physical and systemic walls that contain everything. Kael's project leader has real authority inside the zone, but zero authority the second they step outside. If the whole project fails,
The collapse is contained. The risk, and therefore the meaning, is quarantined.
And this idea of contained risk, that's the final piece of the puzzle. It shows us how all four of these zones actually work together as one complete system. So you've got Zone 1, that's the foundation for global safety. Zone 2 is the sandbox for creativity and just feeling things. Zone 3 is where people go to build real, costly meaning. And yeah, there's even a fourth zone, the frontier. That's where people go who reject all the rules, a place of maximum risk where collapse is pretty much expected. It's the system's pressure valve for anyone who needs to be on the absolute edge.
And this is the real genius of this whole framework. It doesn't force a choice between a civilization that is safe and one that is meaningful. It basically says, you know what, that's a false choice. You can have both. You just have to build walls between them. So let's check back in with Kael. After going through all of this, what does her life actually look like now that she understands this whole system?
At age 42, Kael has finally found her balance. She splits her time. She goes back to Zone 1 to enjoy the safety and abundance with her friends and family, but she also continues her hard work in Zone 3, where that 8-year commitment has given her a sense of authorship over her own life that she never, ever could have found otherwise.
And that leaves us with the core idea. A world where nothing is permanent is safe, sure, but it's empty. A world where everything is permanent is meaningful, absolutely, but it's also lethal. Maybe the future isn't about choosing one perfect system. Maybe it's about layering different systems for different needs, giving us the safety we need to survive and the stakes we need to feel alive, all separated by walls thick enough that neither one can destroy the other.